Hey everybody, Joel Geyer here with Badger Beer Report, and we are here tonight for a special edition of the Brew Report as the countdown is now on to April 18th as the local Milwaukee beer scene here is getting a new edition with the launch of Nosey Neighbor Brewing. This is one that we have been kind of covering since it was announced that they would be the first endeavor of New Barron's new program there. And we're just really excited for them. And joining me in studio now is Tyler and Charisse Sallee, the owners of Nosey Neighbor. So we are going to get to kind of pull behind the curtain here, hear about their backstory, what it has been like kind of joining the foray there at New Barron's, hearing about their launch and what they have planned. And so, without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. So, Tyler and Charisse, thank you so much for joining me, first of all, and taking the time out of what I'm sure is going to be a busy week leading up to your launch.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Joel, and thanks for having us, Badger Beer Report. Looking forward to kind of sharing what's coming. So we're super excited.
Absolutely. Well, and before we jump into what is going to be currently happening, could we kind of give the people a little bit of your backstory? Because obviously your homebrew journey goes back many years now. So what was kind of those early days like and what your background was as you kind of got started?
Yeah, so we started back in 2018, like January 2018. My wife, Charisse, it started similar to several other brewers nowadays as home brewing. My wife got me a kit for Christmas one year in Christmas of 2017. So we didn't waste any time. We started, brewing right away using that Christmas gift in 2018 and started brewing like many other home brewers. And I got hooked right away. I kind of have a background with cooking and I love creating. And so it was just the perfect thing for me to kind of jump into. And so we started home brewing in 2018. And I think it's just kind of my nature to kind of go all in. If I'm going to go in on something, I'm going to go all in on it. And so I started reading up and learning as much as I could on the craft. And like many homebrewers, your first couple batches are just like not that great, but you learn what not to do. And so, we had brewed from 2018 and COVID hit, and that was a big timeline for us. And obviously it's a big marker for a lot of other breweries as well. But what it allowed us to do is things slowed down and things kind of, everyone was at home. And so it really gave us an opportunity to really kind of hone in on the brewing aspect. Other breweries were closed down at the time. Everything was shut down, and so it was like, hey, let's take advantage of this time to really dig into the craft and learn as much as we could. And so that was a really meaningful year for us as far as Nosey Neighbor goes, because we really did make strides in that year of really perfecting what we did. And then we came out the other end and it brought us to 2021. And that was a big year for us because that's when we started getting out into more of the public setting, which we can go into, but we've grown as homebrewers. We've been a part of it for now 8 years. And here we are today. And so we could certainly talk about that journey.
Yeah.
That's kind of the story.
Yeah, well, because I know that, before we dive, I want to talk some more about some of the brews that you've worked with and everything, but I think we got to know, I know it's an FAQ on your website, which if people are watching you can see that scrolling there, noseyneighborbrewing.com. But for people that have not gone to the website and are not familiar with you, what's with the name Nosey Neighbor?
Yeah, it's a unique name for sure. I think when we started out, as homebrewers, we decided pretty early on that we wanted to have an identity to what we did. We didn't want it to just be like Tyler's Basement Brews, right? And so we decided, hey, let's come up with some sort of identity. And so we thought that was kind of a funny name because we were homebrewing. We were brewing in the garage at the time. But it is ultimately the true meaning behind it is it's kind of a shout out to our dog, Koa. He is the ultimate nosy neighbor. He is constantly looking out the front window. Nobody can move, within 100 feet of our house, or else he's very much aware, or he's looking through our fence. He's the ultimate nosy neighbor. So that's where we got the idea is from our dog Koa. But then also it's kind of a tongue in cheek joke in a way, because those early brew days when we're in the garage and, steam's coming out of the garage and the neighbors next door are wondering what's going on over there. It definitely leaves some to probably ask some questions. So, we thought the name Nosey Neighbor was kind of fitting and obviously a little humorous. So that's the background on that.
Yeah, well, it's definitely memorable. It's one that people are going to, be able to, it doesn't just like, it sticks out a bit, which I think is really fun. And so you guys talk about that transition from those early days where you kind of decided, okay, now we're able to kind of start to enter into these contests, and we're now serving. I know how many straight years were you at? Have you been at Milwaukee Brew Fest now? I know it's been several now that you've been serving there.
Yeah, since 2021.
Yeah. So you also, though, have been able to brew with several other breweries, like doing some collab stuff. I know, when I was just at the Runaway and you guys came up in conversation there, and I know at Mobcraft, you guys also worked with, were able to work with Mobcraft too at one point with one of your recipe winning, votes and everything. So what was that process like, getting those early kind of opportunities with a lot of these local breweries? Because I believe I saw there, was it like 5 different kind of area breweries that you guys have been able to do collabs with up until this point?
Yeah, we've done collabs with I think it's 7 breweries now.
Okay,
yeah, from 2021 kind of throughout the time all the way up until this past last year, I guess a year ago. So it started out as our first collaboration was actually with Racine Brewing Company, which is no longer around anymore.
Yeah.
But Andy and Angie were the owners there, and we had won a competition. And so we were able to brew our beer with them there. And that was a coffee stout that we called Breakfast at the Brewery. And then like you said, we worked with Mobcraft. And Mobcraft, we did the Bobbin for Caramel. So if you've had that beer before, it was like a caramel apple sour.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we did that one with Mobcraft. And then you mentioned Runaway. Runaway gave us the opportunity to come out and brew a beer with them. And so we did a sherbet kind of inspired sour with them. That was super fun. So that was a really fun one. And then after that, we worked with Our Noggin, which is super close to our house. Our Noggin was a brewery in Kenosha. It's in the same spot as Last Ditch is now.
Yeah.
And we did a Mexican lager with them, and that was a really successful day. A ton of people came out and supported that project. And then Brewfinity, we worked with them on another stout that was helping raise money for a local charity. And it was like for counseling services. And so we made a little play on words and did like a Let's Chalk About It. And it was a Choco Taco Stout. So that was kind of fun with them. And then lastly, we had New Barons and Gathering Place that were our most recent ones. So with New Barons, it was about 2 years ago now, and it was a beer to guard. And then we did Gathering Place, a Czech dark lager.
Yeah.
So a variety of breweries from, all the way south to Kenosha, all the way up to, the Economowalk area. And you can see a variety of styles.
Yeah, absolutely. And was there a point during this time period here in the last couple of years that you were like, something clicked, like, okay, this has a real opportunity to become something more substantial and real?
Yeah, I think it was the first year that we went to Milwaukee Brew Fest, to be honest, because in 2021 we were like, hey, let's put ourselves out there a little bit. It took a little bit of courage, as home brewers to kind of go on that scale of exposure. And we weren't really sure, at that point we were one of the very few home brewers that was really there. It was us and we were next to, surrounded by current breweries, and people that are cranking out amazing beers. And so we went in there a little cautiously optimistic, but I mean, we got great response from the people there asking us where they could buy it. Obviously we had to tell them that they couldn't. But they were very surprised that we were home brewing, and we left there feeling like, okay, I feel like we can hang, certainly there's things that we need to do to improve and continue to chase, the craft, but we left there feeling like, okay, I think this can happen. We're not just pretending anymore. I feel like this is something that we can do. So
yeah. And so once you kind of had this, what was the process like early on with New Barons? Because obviously this is not just something that's new to you. This is something that's new to them as well. So what was that early kind of those conversations? Did they approach you? Did you approach them? What did that look like in the setting up of how this partnership would be?
yeah, I would say that it probably started a couple of years ago. Just as laying the foundation, we're member owners there, and they do a program called the Beer Keep. I don't know if you've heard of that or not, but it's a homebrew program basically where they bring homebrewers that are member owners in, and they say, hey, here's a style that we're all going to work on, and together, every brewer kind of worked individually, and we worked to help hone in a specific beer style, getting feedback, and then going back and rebrewing it, and then getting more feedback and rebrewing it. And that was a great opportunity for us to really get to work directly with John. At that point, I had kind of, known him, just interacting, in and out of the brewery, but that was an opportunity to truly work next to him. And I think that kind of laid the foundation. Now, we weren't talking at that point about an incubator program or anything like that, but I do think that probably started, hey, I think we can work together. This might work, but it really started last summer in about July. We were doing the Beer Keep program for the second year. And John said, hey, you know what, do you have time to meet beforehand? And so we met with him, and he was like, hey, I have this idea about an incubator program at New Barons. We'd love to be able to help support, up and coming breweries and help launch them. And he was like, we would love to have you guys be our first, brewery, because of, you guys are in a position where it could work, and he's like, just consider it, and so I said, you know what, I think it's worth another meeting, is how I respond. I said, I think we're going to have a lot of questions. And so let's find a time where we can sit down and we can get those questions answered. And so we did that, and it started falling into place, and we're in a position where it made sense. And so we said, hey, let's do it. And that was back in the fall.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember when it was funny, because I'm sure that this was obviously in place before any of the announcements were, because it was kind of a funny timing where it's like New Barons announces that they're going to start this new incubator program. It was like within a week, it was like, oh yeah, no, they already got one. So it was clear that I think it was kind of a, not necessarily the chicken before the egg type of thing going on, but that he had you guys in mind almost when he was starting this programs in a lot of ways, that he felt comfortable. Because I'm sure with a program like this, he wants to feel comfortable with the people coming in. And so having you guys there, I'm sure was part of his decision-making with that.
Yeah. And I think that they want this to come through the membership of New Barons. So naturally, that's a great way for them to kind of vet out, like who they're working with, right? You're a member owner, so there's some investment as far as you believing in their brand. Yeah. And then obviously, being able to get to know each other a little bit deeper than just random person on the outside, saying that they're going to work with New Barons. I think that it's truly a deep connection and partnership that's at work there,
Yeah. Well, and now that you are there, and if for the people watching, we both are actually virtually at New Barons right now. We did not plan this because it looks like right now I'm sitting about like 10, 15 feet, maybe not even that feet away below you, which is not actually real. We're not there, but you guys have been there a lot. And I know that you've posted about, all the new equipment that was brought in, and what has it been like for you making this transition? And because obviously you have, done these collabs and, been part of on these more professional systems, but has there been anything that has surprised you since you have started, kind of this real foray now with New Barons?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I'm a little surprised. I think that the most surprising thing is maybe just how long it's taken to get to this point. Right.
Yeah.
I think everybody severely underestimated how long it might take. We're like, all right, well, let's get this rolling. We're going to announce it in November. We'll definitely be up and running like late January, early February. And here we are in mid-April, So I would say that maybe like the permitting state side of things was a little bit surprising, the amount of paperwork that's involved. It's definitely not a task for the weary. There's a lot of T's that need crossed and a lot of I's that need dotted. And so I'd say like maybe maybe that aspect, obviously coming from a homebrew background to this, it was a little bit of a wake up call in regards to everything that needs to get lined up, even for as simple of a kind of setup as we have, with partnership.
Yeah. Well, and Charisse, what about for you? Because obviously, like Tyler's in all these pictures with the brewing equipment, but what about for you? What has this whole process been like on your end?
I feel like it's kind of been a ton of, paperwork. And then the other side of it is, thinking about, well, we have to file this taxes and all, all the things that we have to do on the other end, and like bookkeeping and keeping track of all the, all the things that all of our products, all of our vendors that we're working with. So it's been very eye-opening on that end too, where there's just so much that goes into it and nobody sees any of it.
So. Yeah, I know. I mean, and that's been, you guys are still brewing beer. Now you just get extra paperwork to deal with, essentially. Yes. It comes down to. Well, and I know now, we've kind of worked our way up to today, and Saturday is going to be the launch, essentially, of the Nosey Neighbor brand as part of New Barons with your first beer release. Do you want to talk a little bit about that beer, Welcome to the Neighborhood, why you chose it, why you designed the recipe that way, just an overall what the approach was on this essentially introductory beer to what is going to be many people? Because obviously you guys have been around, you've been at Milwaukee Brew Fest, but there's still going to be a lot of people, I would assume, that are going to be experiencing you for the very first time on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we, people asked us, I think from the day that we said, hey, we're doing this partnership with New Barons, people were like, what are you going to do for your first beer? And I'm like, whoa, hold on. We have so many things that need to get figured out. But so it gave us a lot of time to think about it. But we decided, it has to be something not overly complicated. It's our first beer jumping from, a very, very small scale to a 3-barrel system. So we didn't want to add in too many variables to the first one. We wanted it to turn out well. And so we felt like that was a good one because it's a little bit easier to pull off. There's still things that you need to do technically sound to make it the way that you want it. But we thought that would be good because I feel like it's a approachable style too. It's not a full-on IPA. New Barons already does amazing lagers, so we didn't want to do another lager. Like, we wanted to, do something a little bit different, but also not too crazy. And so we felt like a pale ale was pretty approachable. That's one of the things that we try to do with our brewing. I think we said it even in our website, is like, we want it to be something enjoyable to the connoisseur, right? The craft beer fan, but at the same time, we want it to be approachable to those that are curious, right? We're talking about getting more people in the craft beer scene. And so we want it to be something that's going to be approachable. So tons of flavor still. The idea of Welcome to the Neighborhood is not just us being welcome to Bayview, but it's literally welcoming people into what we have to offer, welcoming them to the Nosey Neighborhood.
Yeah. It's a perfect name.
Yeah. So it's a mutual welcoming. Hopefully it's a very positive day. It's a day where we can, have a great amount of fun and build community. So that's the meaning behind the name, is just a mutual welcoming to each other's existences. And then the pale ale choice, is just, again, the approachability. But what we did is we took Amarillo, Azacca, and Eldorado hops. Those were our choices for that. And we thought that blend would be good. What it's going to do is we already got sensory on it. It's well on its way to exactly what we're looking for. We'll be packaging it later this week. But what we're looking for is sweet citrus, candied fruit, pineapple, not a whole lot of bitterness, just enough for it to be balanced. So again, hopefully it's something that everyone will enjoy. Everyone will be able to enjoy the day with a Welcome to the Neighborhood. And kind of get a glimpse into maybe what we can do moving forward with other beers.
Well, absolutely. And I know that, obviously the beer is a big part of the reason that everyone, including myself, are planning to be there. But there's more going on than just a simple, the beer's on tap. can you talk more about what Saturday is going to look like for people that want to come stop by at New Barons in Bayview?
Yeah, so it is not just a beer release. It is celebrating Nosey Neighbor's launch. Obviously, the beer will be available. It's also at the same time, it's a ending of the member owner drive for New Barons. So it is going to be a big day for Nosey Neighbor people. It's going to be a big day for New Barons people. And so we're getting together. We're celebrating in many different ways. We'll be having food trucks, and so there will be dope pizza, which is wood-fired pizza. They should be there serving from 2 to 5. So come early, grab yourself some lunch. There also is a Korean barbecue truck, I think, that usually sets up right outside of Lincoln Warehouse that would be available as well. Then we'll have the beer, and then we'll have prizes. We'll have raffles. And so I know New Barons with their member owner drive, there's raffles that they're doing where they're giving away. One of the winners of the raffle is going to win a free member ownership, which is worth $200. And so that's definitely worthwhile in and of itself. And then also they are doing a member owner related raffle where people can I think win a month of free beer, which is also a pretty amazing prize. That would also include the Nosey Neighbor beer. And then we're doing a fun contest as well. And so you can see it there on the screen. We're going to do a raffle as well. And we were trying to decide what we wanted to do as a prize. And I think it made sense for us to kind of offer the opportunity for somebody to work with us to create and design a beer. Thinking back to our history and kind of what helped us build confidence and connection within the industry was those collaborations. And so we felt like that was a fitting thing to add to the whole idea of welcome to the neighborhood. It's not just the beer, it's welcoming you in saying, hey, we want to hear your thoughts. Let's create a beer together. We want you to join the brew day. So you can see it's not just choosing a beer, it would be joining the brew day. And then obviously it would be celebrating the release when it's done. And so we would offer a free 6-stole worth of beer, roughly probably about $300 when you add up all the retail costs of all of that. And so being able to just enjoy that beer with your friends, bringing in friends, family, having them interact with Nosey Neighbor and New Barons, and have them come in and celebrate the release. And so we thought that was a fitting prize. Really, it's a simple way to participate. All you have to do is come in. If you order a welcome to the neighborhood, you automatically are entered into the contest. You get a ticket for every pour that you purchase. And then we'll also have Nosey Neighbor merch. So we'll have shirts available.
Oh, I might need to get a shirt.
Yeah. So if you purchase a shirt, you get 5 tickets also entered into the competition. And then we're also going to have a social media component. We're trying to, again, build our footprint on social media. And so, taking a photo throughout the day of some fun interaction that they had about the day, and then posting with the hashtag of welcome to the neighborhood, tagging New Barons and Nosey Neighbor. If they just show us that they made that post, we'll give them 5 tickets as well. So really it's come out, celebrate the launch. And if you're celebrating with us, you're going to have entries into this competition. There's not anything overly complicated to it. A great opportunity to come out, get to know us, and hopefully win a cool prize. And so we're going to announce the winner at 6 p.m. The event starts at 1. So you have all the way from 1 to 6 to get tickets, get involved. We'll have the drawing at 6, and we'll go from there. But
do people need to be, for clarification, do people need to be present at 6 o'clock in order to win?
No, we're not going to ask people to be around all day. If you're entered, what we'll have you do is write your name and your phone number on the back of each ticket, and we'll know how to get a hold of you.
Yep, that's a good clarification, because I'm definitely going to be doing my best to enter in. May have to order more than one welcome to the neighborhood to try to up my odds. But that is great to know. And again, it was 1 to 6 at the New Barons tap room. And obviously you have this big launch day. You have the pale ale. Looking forward, what can we kind of expect from Nosey Neighbor? Like how is this going to look once the dust kind of settles on this launch? Like, are we saying, is there going to be a certain number of beers that you're aiming for? Is there going to be a schedule of releases? What do you envision for Nosey Neighbor after this initial launch period?
Yeah, I think, in talks with John of kind of what it will look like logistically. So we We purchased our own fermenter tank that's in the cellar. We purchased, the timing was great. Supermoon was looking to expand, and so they had some tanks available. And so New Barons purchased one with us, and then we also purchased one for Nosey Neighbor. And so we have one tank that is fully committed to Nosey Neighbor, and so we'll be able to probably turn around a beer every 3-4 weeks, depending on the style and type it is. And so, you can expect that there'll be a new beer every month at the very least. We'd love to get one out every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Basically, we're not going to have a huge lineup of a full tap list of Nosey Neighbor, but we're going to be, like many other breweries that started this way, just slowly kind of putting them out, one at a time and having those releases. So it's kind of fun because you have to wait a little bit and then you get your next one, instead of having them all out right away. But New Barons is looking to have one on tap at their location regularly, and so that's what that would look like. And then as far as the others, we're looking for draft partners. Would love to have a presence in Bayview, in the greater Milwaukee area, but then we live in Kenosha, and so we would love to have because we had so much support and love from people down in this area. We would love to have a presence in Kenosha. So if people know of draft partners that would love something that's new and different and super hard to get, because we're not brewing a lot, right? And so this would be a great opportunity to kind of hit those marks. And so we'll be looking for draft partners and popping up hopefully in different spots. Our website will have a place where you can find where you can get us on tap. So hopefully it'll make it easy for people, if they're curious, to be able to go check that out.
Yeah, 100%. And, obviously this question is almost, I'm sure going to be like jumping the gun somewhat, but I know that, John has talked about that the hope is to help these people eventually transition to, becoming their own full-fledged brewery. Is that something that you guys envision like way down the road? Because I know you talk about that this is going to be a slow burn, a slow build, which is what it really needs to be, especially right now in the industry. But do you guys eventually hope to have your own place? And obviously right now, Kenosha is now down to just 3 breweries. And so I don't know if that is something that you have your eyes on, because obviously you guys are still living down there. So that's what I'm kind of curious about too, is this going to be something that helps, take the next step forward, and moving towards your own facility?
Yeah, I think that's a question that we've gotten a lot. Some things that maybe people don't realize is that before New Barons, this partnership, we've been approached by probably 4 different breweries.
Oh, wow.
Asking us if we would want to move in and take over. So this has been a conversation that's happened, multiple times. And obviously right now the timing wasn't great where we felt like we wanted to go all the way in on that, but certainly this is setting us up to be ready for it if the right opportunity comes. And so we're leaving the door open, similar to like what we did in 2021. We're kind of putting ourselves out there, getting experience. Maybe the right person comes along that would make sense to partner up and make something happen. And so, we don't have anything fully lined up, or I can say this is definitely what we're doing. We're kind of taking that step of faith, and we're saying, we're going to put ourselves out there and we're going to see what happens here.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Greg and I have both, since the initial the news broke, and as we've been kind of covering it coming through here, we absolutely love what New Barons is doing with this incubator program in terms of providing this lower barrier to entry for people to come and try this out, because it's not necessarily fully unique, because you see places kind of like a pilot project, but that is also a much bigger type of system. Being based in Chicago, it's almost an entirely different type of program in many ways. So we've been excited to see what was going to happen with this, and that's why I'm looking forward to being there on Saturday. Again, reminder for people, this Saturday, the 18th, from 1 to 6, you guys are releasing your pale ale, Welcome to the Neighborhood. So make sure you are there. You will have the opportunity for entering the raffle, and also just come and hang out and support, the new brewery here locally. So yeah, obviously we've had your guys' new website scrolling across either the bottom or the top of the screen, depending on what type of device you are watching on. Where else can people find Nosey Neighbor, follow Nosey Neighbor, and make sure that they're staying up to date on all the things you guys are doing?
Yeah, we're regular users of social media. We're constantly updating things there. So you can find us on Instagram at nosey_neighbor_brewing. Otherwise, you can find us on Facebook. We're keeping things updated. We're making posts. We're kind of keeping people aware of what's going on and what they can kind of expect from us. So give us a follow, and stay up to date that way. That's a great way for real time updates.
100%. And so, before we wrap up, I really appreciate you both taking the time this evening to talk to me and to all the listeners so that they can be prepared for Saturday. I'd like you both to kind of just do a short little elevator speech summary about Nosey Neighbor, about your beer, what you anticipate, both for this weekend and long term as well.
Yeah, I think Nosey Neighbor Brewing, what you can expect from us is we're going to keep things new and fresh, right? So we love trying new things. We love pushing the envelope on what we do as brewers, challenging ourselves. And so we would love to, make new things, keep it exciting. Certainly would love to have a presence in the Bayview, greater Milwaukee area, as well as Kenosha. But really, when it comes down to why we're doing this and taking this leap, it comes down to the people. We have so many people in our corner that have been cheering us on and rooting us on and supporting us and showing up to events and just volunteering their time. That's why we're doing this. It's the community that we're with. It's the people that we meet. They're amazing. And so really it comes down to, we just want to keep building community, and it'll take us where we need to be from there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will plan on seeing you guys there on Saturday. And before everybody pops off here, I know Greg and we have two things quick just to pop on with some Badger Beer Report related things. First, for those that have enjoyed following Badger Beer Report, we are on Patreon now with 3 very varying levels of support. We have a lot of really cool exclusive content going on right now. There are different videos, series that I'm currently working on, the weekly newsletter that I'm sending out. And if you got the weekly newsletter, you already read about Nosey Neighbor this past Thursday. And lots of fun stuff that we are still continuing to work on. And then on top of that we announced here recently, and this also ties into Nosey Neighbor with their home brewing background and how much success they have had now kind of going through the ranks. We, Badger Beer Report, have the summer mashup that we are starting in collaboration with Sunshine Brewing Company and the Madison Home Brewers and Tasters Guild. We cannot wait for this event. If you click on or whatever, take a picture of this QR code, it will take you to the website so that you can learn more information about entering and being able to participate in that as well. So again, I just would like to thank Tyler and Charisse so much for joining me. We will be in touch here leading into this weekend. And for those following Badger Beer Report, make sure you also go and give Nosey Neighbor a follow on social media. And if you're not already, I'll be tagging them when I'm there on Saturday, posting about them. So it'll make it even easier for all you guys. So we will go ahead and close out here. As always, whether it is where you are visiting or where you are living, be sure to drink local everywhere. Cheers, everybody.